if I have a client that says, hey, I really like this house, first call, I'm calling that agent, the listing agent, and saying, what's the story? Tell me about your sellers. And we're building a story, and it's our job to fill in the pages all together to get to the end of the story. And the end of the story is everybody's happy.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the San Luis Obispo Real Estate Podcast with the man himself. I always say that, Mr. Hal Sweasey. How are you, sir?
I'm great. We got rain.
We got rain. We got a tornado warning. Did you get that?
I heard it happen, but I didn't hear it.
It was with T-Mobile phones. JT, how are you, sir?
Oh, God, it woke me up, but I was back to sleep in 30 seconds.
Right. So before we get to the conversation, Hal, I don't know how we're getting so lucky with all these amazing new agents. Well, we got another one. So right. I'll go ahead and introduce who we have today and what's going on.
Yeah, we have a new member of our team, Stacie Kenny here. And Stacie, we're happy to have her. How many years have been licensed and been in real estate world?
So I've been licensed for 20 years.
Yeah.
I first started in property management.
Right.
And then took a little hiatus and came back to sales after my boys went back to school.
Yeah. Well, we're happy to have you. So Stacie was part of the Keller Williams family, but is elected to join our team, which
Well, she still is part of the Keller Williams family.
Well, we all are still
part
of
of
Keller. Yeah. But that's, it's not like you were that far away, right? But we certainly have certain criteria we look at when we have people join our team, and our core values, and Stacie was sure a fit. John, I know you want to talk about that. But
we got lucky.
We did get lucky.
We're so glad you're here.
Yeah.
I think this is a great thing for us, and more importantly, I think it's a great thing for the clients that we work with.
Yep.
I mean, you were born in this county, right?
Yep, born and raised, Paso Robles.
Yeah,
Yep.
Paso High.
Paso High.
The Bearcats, huh?
Yep, not giving out my graduation year. Keeping that one under wraps.
And
At least you had one.
You're the
John
youngest one in this room, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And your husband, Joe, same thing?
He is a seventh generation here in San Luis Obispo County. So
So wait, when does that start? When did that generate? What does that mean?
a long time ago, Hal. I don't know. I can't
that's
do the math.
1800s, right?
It has to be in the 1800s.
Early.
So his great grandfather is John Price, like Price Canyon, Price Street. So the lineage of history just.
But 7 generations, that grandfather, great grandfather. I mean, that
Great.
we're going way back.
Yeah, we're going back
Did they?
further than I can count.
Yeah. Well, me too. Yeah. Okay.
And so did Joe go to SLO High?
He went to AG.
AG.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when AG plays Paso, who do you guys root for?
Uh-oh.
Oh, Paso, come on. And
You mean you do, or have you converted him?
No, we've got this whole SLO component because our son is playing for the freshman team for SLO High. So we are playing Paso on Thursday. So I'm a little conflicted.
What side of the field are you going to sit on?
You're not going to root
You're
for
not
somebody
sitting on
not
the
against your
Paso
team.
No,
side.
I am all about. I will be in my Tigers gear.
You're
It's all about.
And want your son to win.
Exactly.
You're the mom. Come on.
Yep,
I've
Mama
heard
Bear.
that freshman team at SLO High is pretty good.
They're 6-0.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, they're,
Yeah.
Dang.
Wow.
This Friday?
These boys. Thursday. Sorry.
Thursday?
They play
What
Thursday,
time?
yeah.
I got to go to the game.
I think kickoff is at 5:00.
At
But it's
SLO
up
High.
you got to go
Paso, so we got to travel.
Paso.
Okay.
Paso.
So-
Should I get a hotel, spend the night?
You might want to.
Winery.
It's going to be past your bedtime by the time the
That
game's
is
over.
true.
Yeah.
So being a native of the county and Joe being a native of the county, it would seem like you kind of know every back road, every housing area, every neighborhood in the county, huh?
It would seem, however, our county has changed a lot. When I grew up in Paso, they hadn't even heard of sushi. Like our restaurant, we had, I think, Senior Sancho's Mexican food. That was where we went for our Friday night.
Yeah.
It's changed a lot. So every time I go up there, I feel like there's new developments coming in, new projects. But, the original is definitely still there where I grew up. And, we grew up outside of town, a horse farm. So my parents raised Arabian horses. So there are parts of it. But, you get accustomed pretty quickly. You start driving around and, it's...
Paso Robles, Foster Freeze. That's what I remember.
Yeah, not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not
No.
anymore.
No. So it's
Neither
really
SLO.
changed, huh?
Mhm. Oh, it's changed a lot.
Yeah.
But even Atascadero, we have a house in Atascadero. And, I mean, from when we bought it in 2019 to now, the downtown's so different.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
they're really improving so many areas in our county. So
But you're living in San Luis now. You, Joe, and your two boys.
We went from an acre on a very quiet street to right smack downtown San Luis Obispo.
Yeah.
Living our best life.
Close
So-
to the office. It was a business
Exactly.
decision, I believe.
Yeah.
Now you have longtime roots as well, right?
Yep.
So you're what generation are you and for your family in San Luis?
Ooh, I was born in Southern California, but we moved
Okay.
up here when I was itty bitty. So I
Right.
kind of say I was born here.
Okay, gotcha.
It's a
Yeah.
technicality, but
Right.
no, it's more Joe's side, my
Okay.
husband's side. So
Gotcha.
yeah, being
Seventh generation, huh?
seventh, and now we added the eighth. So
Seventh generation San Luis Obispo County. I'm seventh generation Californian, but I can't say seventh generation San Luis.
I'd be-
Okay, so what? Tell us about your family history.
Yeah, my great grandfather was governor of California in 1834, and for those history buffs, you'll remember that the capital of California was Monterey in those days. So my mother's family has roots in Monterey County, like Joe's family has roots here in San Luis County. So, yeah.
The governor of California.
Governor, yeah. Well, and 1834.
You're dressed kind of like a blue blood.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, 1834, California wasn't part of the United States yet. It was part of Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is
kind of fun.
This is a great history lesson.
Yeah.
there's a lot of talent on your team. You're surrounded by
Finally.
talent
right?
and history.
So
Finally.
we should probably talk about some real estate,
Yes,
shouldn't we?
yes,
This is a real
yes.
estate
Yeah.
podcast. So tell me, Stacie, you've been on the sales side now for a few years. Tell me about being a real estate salesperson. What's the fun part about that?
The fun part for me, I truly believe it's getting to know your clients, getting to know their story, helping them ultimately get into their home, which when you think of someone's home, that provides so much more. I mean, whether they're just getting married and going to start a family, someone's downsizing. I mean, there's so many different components, and it's fun to get in there and get to know people and find what is right for that stage of life. When it comes to buying a home or selling a home, either, I buy and sell, so a little bit of both. But yeah, no, that's my favorite part is the ultimate, like, get in there when you get in a competitive situation and you end up getting that call saying, congratulations, we went with your offer. There's like no better feeling.
Right.
You get to make that call to your client once you get all the signed contracts and you call your client and say, hey, guess what? We did it. Good job. Now
That's awesome.
So, I've been a licensed agent since 1980, but I've never really been involved in the transaction. So I've never had the opportunity to hand somebody the keys to their new home. What's that like?
it's amazing. I mean, there's so much emotion. I think, in real estate markets, some are very competitive and, people, you write offers and they think this is the one. And if, it doesn't end up being the one, there's always something better. It's always meant to be. There's something else that's out there. And when you finally get that, hey, we did it. We're here. Here's your keys. There's a lot of emotion. And I would say every single one of my clients have become a friend in some capacity, and we stay in touch. And it's so fun to go back and see like what they've done with the home and how they've made it their own. And, they love showing it off just as much as I love to see it. Like, come by, I'm connecting with a client that I sold a house to 2 years ago. Next week, I'm going to go by the house, and she's, we got all the renovations done. You've got to come do the walkthrough. So it's a relationship that you keep through the years. It's not just sell the home and then, okay, congratulations. It's, staying in touch and seeing how their families evolve. And, it's just that's one of my favorite parts of the job.
You just brought up something and made me think about a conversation we had last week about, we asked you, about your skills and what you were proud of. And you told me that you're really proud of your negotiating skills. And you just mentioned competitive situations. So you've been able to help your clients win in competitive situations fairly often, right?
Yes.
And so you are proud of your ability to negotiate and help them get the deal when there's maybe 2, 3, 4 other buyers, right?
Absolutely. And I think a lot of that negotiating, yes, but communication is so important in this business. I mean, we communicate with our clients, of course. We hear them. We talk about, next steps, what we're doing. But also, you communicate with your lenders. You communicate with escrow. There's, I think, a dying skill of communicating with the agent on the other side. And I think that is one of the most key components when you are, if I have a client that says, hey, I really like this house, first call, I'm calling that agent, the listing agent, and saying, what's the story? Tell me about your sellers. And we're building a story, and it's our job to fill in the pages all together to get to the end of the story. And the end of the story is everybody's happy. So the more you communicate, the better the transaction's going to go. And, you don't just, my biggest pet peeve is when an agent just submits an offer and texts me, please confirm. And it's no call. There's no follow-up.
Yeah.
There was a competitive situation on a street, Buckeye here in SLO, and it was very competitive, and submitted the offer. And I called the agent a day later and just, hey, how are we looking? What's going on? Your offer's great, but okay, I'll call you back 15 minutes. Called her back. Had to do it 2 or 3 different times during the week because she was reviewing over the weekend. And she called me. I was walking into one of my baseball tournaments for my son, had a whole order of Starbucks for all the moms. And I see the phone ring, and I'm like, oh, I got to grab this. And she said, congratulations. I hope you shared this with your client. The reason you got it is because you communicated and you said what you were going to do, and you did it. And she said that was huge. So, I think that's one of my strengths is I obviously like to talk. So, communicating is not a problem. So it's really important. I think, it's one of the most important things that we do in our business is to communicate with all parties involved.
You are so right, because people have a tendency to text or wait, and it's a fine line, right? In terms of keeping in touch with the other agent, because you're working collaboratively to get to the finish line. And, you prove yourself by being responsive and doing things. And I know before, we started to work together here and had this recently, you've worked with the schools and PTA, right?
Yep.
And when I always think about great agents, they can do a lot at one time, right? So you have 2 boys.
2 boys.
They don't sleep all day, right? They move around once in a while.
No, very active.
Rambunctious
very
kids.
involved in sports.
Yeah, you got a husband's a general contractor.
Yep.
So he's at home sleeping all day long, right? No, right?
Right.
And then you go out and volunteer and run things for the school. And I always knew the PTA presidents, when my kids were growing up, and they were the ones that organized and got stuff done, right? So I think it's just the way you're wired, right? And we can already see how it shows, right? And how you're just diving into things. So if you were coaching, let's say, a first-time home buyer that you're just sitting down with, in fact, you're sitting down with one tomorrow or something, right? Did you tell me?
Yes.
Yeah.
do.
So what are the most 2 or 3 things that are important for them to know as they start that process of, say, buying a home?
Well, I think it's important for them to communicate, and especially if you're dealing with 2 people, to get on the same page of what they're looking for, whether it's to be within the district of a certain school or a yard. Or so many times I think couples don't have these conversations, and she wants one thing and
Just writing that down.
he wants a 3-car garage, and we all know those are
Right.
hard to come by in SLO. And if they don't talk about it in advance and maybe get their vision somewhat aligned.
You got to be careful with that, because you don't want them to leave and then leave each other.
Right, exactly.
What?
I'm not an attorney. I'm not in the
no,
divorce,
I'm just saying.
divorce business. I think that's very important, but also, again, communication, letting me know what's important to them. Timelines. I mean, if they don't express that they want to be in by Christmas, but they do, they get frustrated that we're not maybe moving fast enough, or, we really need to all know exactly what their expectations are. They need to know, realistically what's going on with the market. And if we're in a really hot market where there's going to be multiple offer situations, it all needs to just manage their expectations as well.
Yeah.
So
I think Hal's always talked about the San Luis Obispo County market relative to some other markets like in metro areas, that there just aren't that many houses for sale at any one time. Even when inventory's way up, there's still not that many compared to an Orange County or Santa Clara County or something. So how do you help manage the expectations around, that perfect house may not even exist in this county?
Well, I have a little one up for that one. Being with a construction background, my husband and I have owned a construction company for 20 years now. It's the ability to go into a house and, me included, like I want a beautiful white kitchen and I want that. And sometimes the neighborhood's perfect. It's in the right school zone area. The kitchen's a little off. Maybe the bathroom counters we don't love. And you love the bones. And it's one of those, well, what don't you love about this? And you really dive into those conversations. And if it's, oh, I don't really love these countertops. Well, that's an easy fix. We know people, or, it's just one of those situations where you have to really have those conversations that ideal home might not be the first one we walk into. Sometimes you buy what's available and you live there. And then after a few years, we all say, climb the ladder too. So,
yeah.
Your first home may not be your forever home. I don't think it's been that way for any of us.
So it seems like you have a situation where you can be very helpful to a buyer because of your contracting background. You can see things that maybe they can't see about how you can tweak the house and make it theirs.
Exactly. I mean, Joe and I, we're living proof. I've sold 3 homes now where he's come in and completely done a renovation. I mean, like moved the kitchen around, walls, everything. So,
yeah.
They couldn't be, it backs up to Ventura Vineyard up in Templeton, and they love the location. It's in the Peterson Estates, and, everything about it they loved, but I don't love the home. And so we're able to fix that. And now they're like, this is our dream home. We will never move. So
it's so funny. When I started in real estate and, you had a home inspection, I didn't know anything. Right. And I go, I need to hang out with a contractor and see how, how things work, what's right, what's wrong. So I got to think when you're helping someone and an inspection shows up, having known that, what it costs to rewire, replumb, that's not a big issue for you.
No, not at all.
Do you involve Joe with that kind of? Okay.
I was just going to say, I've put inspection reports in front of him numerous times. Like, hey, can you just give us an idea? Because being in the trades, he's a bag wearing. He's on the job at all times. He's not just, pencil pushing. So he knows what it takes to get things done and the cost. So he's able to kind of go through the report and say, oh, we're looking at, everything's always ballpark. There's nothing,
Right.
But it does really, really help, because sometimes you don't have time to wait for a roofer to come, and you don't have time. Especially rainy season. Oh, sorry, we're 2 months out. You're going to wait 2 months for your inspection. So it's helpful. He has roofers on his team, and he has an electrician. He has all the trades, and if it's something that he's not familiar with, it's a quick call. So it's a huge resource.
Good.
So we've been talking about buyers, and you work with sellers as well. And so, 40 years ago when a real estate agent sold the house, I think the great joy they got was they actually handed the check to the seller.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, now they don't get to do that, but there is still great joy in helping someone, get where they want to go next, or cash out of a house. What's the most fun part for you in working with a seller?
I think with a seller, it's helping them on to their next journey. I just closed one in Atascadero, and they were moving up to Medford, Oregon. And, it's really rewarding for me, being selfish, to help them fulfill these dreams. They're in their 70s. They're looking at like next stage of life. A lot of my clients come from my mother-in-law, who's local, and so I deal in that kind of age demographic, and it's helping people get to whether, this house is way too much for me and it's a burden at this point. And it's like, they feel free. And I could see it in my clients. They're like, we love it. We've moved here. And so for me, it's, when you sell something, it's helping them get to that next stage. And usually that next stage is something that betters their life for where they're at right now.
Yeah. How, when I want to go deep every once in a while, which is not very often, Hal's heard me say that I really believe the role you guys play is very noble. Whether you're helping somebody realize their dream of their first home, or like you just said, helping somebody move on to what their next dream is for them. It is very rewarding, I would think.
Well, and when you said it earlier about how emotional it is for someone to buy a house, because let's face it, it's scary.
Yeah.
And fear is very, very natural, right? So when you do something that's scary and you get through it, I mean, invigorating. You know, you go from 8th grade to 9th grade for your son. It's, you know, okay, a little bit scary. Oh, I got it. Okay. And then when you get used to your house, when you're, you know, we're in the demographic, you know, like your mom, older, and well, you
careful.
more than me? You're more qualified. I'm kidding. So, you know, it also is scary. I'm used to my house. That's a big thing. I'm used to not having a house. I'm used to having a house. So all that helps people to get, you know, they have that resistance or hesitation. They kind of think they want it. But then once it's done, they go, wow, why did I wait so long? Right? So,
well, in the process too. I mean, that's some of these people have been in their homes for 30, 40 years. It's like, how do I even begin to wrap my head around
A roll-off dumpster.
You know, and it's that's why we're all here. Our core values. I mean,
Yeah.
we put the client first and do whatever it takes to put them at ease. Whether it's bring in the estate company. I mean, can handle as much as you will let me handle. I will do for you to ease that burden, because I know, you know, emotionally it's tough.
Before we wind up our time together here today, I've got another question for you. You, in your years in sales in real estate, you've been I don't know, for lack of a better term, a sole practitioner. And 2 weeks ago, you decided to join a team. What have you noticed? How is that different for you in being part of a team now versus kind of being by yourself?
So for me, I'd been feeling for a little while. It's kind of a lonely island when you're, you know, there's nobody that you come into. I mean, every morning we have our 8:30 mornings. That's how we start our day. And it's all about, you know, what are we going to do today? How are we going to take care of our clients? How are we going to take care of each other? How are we going to, you don't get that when you're a solo agent. You're just in your own head, which, I mean, I managed well.
right.
But lately I had just been feeling that like there's something missing. And when I mean, our first meeting at Milestone, I was like, this is what was missing. Like, you guys explained how the team works and how we put each other's needs first and our clients' needs. And it changed me. It's already changed me. I was talking to an agent yesterday and he's like, I can already like hear it in your voice. Like, your fire is lit. You're even speaking different. You're more motivated. Right. I mean, it's, you know, you want to keep the team up. So yeah.
Team wins are fun, right?
Yeah.
You know, solo wins, you know, it's fun. But when you have people that you've gone through the trenches with, it's more fun, I think. Yeah.
Well,
you're a team player.
You were an NCAA champion on an individual sport, yet you were on a team.
Right.
And my guess is you and your teammates still talk about the night that you had a party to celebrate your NCAA championship. You have that memory vividly in your head, right?
And we actually talk about the relationships we built
Yeah.
are more important than, you know, I mean, because you went through,
Yeah.
I mean, the wins, I mean, that's
They're
fun.
They do help create the relationship.
Right. Yeah. But you go through the trenches together. So we're glad you're on the team.
I'm
Yeah.
glad to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so thank you for spending time volunteering for our
Voluntolding.
podcast.
What'd you call it?
episode
Voluntold.
Voluntold. Threw me in the hot seat.
Yeah.
Stacie, this afternoon you're on the podcast. Let's go. See you then.
So, Stacie, you know a lot of people in the community in town. We have a lot of people that watch. If somebody hasn't talked to you for a while and they want to reach you, how would somebody reach you?
Absolutely. Call me. 805-550-2405. I'd love to reconnect if we haven't spoken in a while.
And you have a new email address, right?
I do. Stacie@teamsweasey.com, and it's with an IE.
IE.
My parents decided to make my life a little more
Stacie.
difficult.
Stacie, IE, and then how do you do the Sweasey part? How do you spell that one?
Oh boy, you're
get it yet?
really putting me on the spot.
Never mind.
Okay,
Wait
let's
a
see if I
second.
can get it
It's
right.
not like Patrick.
The bigger question is, do you know how to spell it?
No, I have to look at my business card.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna attempt it. SWEASEY.
There you go.
Man.
All right.
Okay.
JT, you kind of stole my question. I have one quick question for you. Is there any surprises coming into the office? Anything that you unexpected once you've joined us at all, or is it like, oh, I knew this is how it was going to be?
How fun you guys all are. Like, I mean, you guys are all top producers, and, you know, I thought that you guys all took yourself very, very seriously, which, I mean, you do, but we also laugh a lot and we joke a lot at our own expense. So I think, I
Okay,
was
you say
surprised
it,
with
Hal.
that.
Go ahead. I know what you're going to say.
We take our work seriously, but not ourselves.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's one of our core values.
Yeah.
So, good job.
Yeah.
Thank
That's
you.
a mic drop right there, isn't it?
Okay.
Take us out of here, James.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Stacie. We're excited to have you. Hal, thank you for, as always, all the great information. JT, yeah, you're here. So everybody that's watching us on YouTube, please continue to like and subscribe. We're up over 100,000 subscribers. As you know, Hal, the plaque, your favorite thing ever, is on the wall over there. And yeah, let's continue. Hal's not a big trophy guy, everybody, if you didn't know that, or plaque guy. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate it. And I think we're going to have the fire chief in next time, right?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Next week.
We're excited. Okay. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, James.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Way to go, Stacie.
Ooh, was that too much?